This is Anucha Market up in Chiang Mai, and this is fight 253 for me. Um, so you'll see this guy in green with the camera. You'll see him running around during the video. He's Simon Mulvaney. He's the filmmaker responsible for the short film of me called Under the Rope. It's really beautiful. It's up on YouTube. You can watch it. And he came out to spend, I think, a little over 10 days with me to shoot a little bit more and see if he wants to do like a feature-length film or something. He's just going to be running around getting lots of footage, and you'll see him going in and out. This is Dang. He's in my corner all the time in Chiang Mai, and we call the other one on the left Little Nung, even though he's not little anymore. Kevin climbing up into the ring. So I'm fighting Nam Tip Sor Anucha. She was actually my 250th fight as well. So this is 253, and this is our third fight together. And in my 250th fight, I had this like shit attitude about how difficult she was to fight, because she was more difficult than I was anticipating. And it was a really good lesson for me about how you should never expect a fight not to be hard, because even if it's an opponent who you've had success against before, it's going to be hard in ways that you don't anticipate, for reasons you don't anticipate. And so expecting it not to be hard, you're then taken aback by the difficulty, and you end up like getting completely flustered by it being hard. So you should just always think a fight is going to be hard. Nam Tip is probably 54, 55 kilos, which makes her 8 or 9 kilos bigger than me. She's good with her hands. The Sor Anucha gym is a military gym. They don't have very many women. I actually only know of 2. Nam Tip, who I'm fighting, and Fa Tip, who's in her corner, who's much bigger. But the head of that gym is actually the announcer at this fight. And so because of our last fight, coming into this one, I like made the mental check. I'm like, do not think this is going to be not a difficult fight. It may be more difficult than the one last time. Just cracking my back on the ropes. I'm a little bit too short for it though. You can see our size difference right there. My God, it's like noticeable. So I wanted to stay close to her, and one of the ways that you can stay close to someone is actually off balancing them with a teep. So I'm actually trying to teep a lot and move left, where I'm like stepping left harder than I have been in previous fights. But I'm basically trying to like keep tagging her guard and closing space by using this teep. She had success in our last fight kind of juggling me with her teep and keeping me off of her. So it's a like teep the teeper situation of like whose teep is going to be more effective in moving the person onto the spot you want them on. Because of our size difference, it's easier for her to choose where she's going to be standing. I need to come forward all the time. You can see how I'm trying to close that distance. March forward with my knee kind of popping. You'll see me bringing it up. You can use that to fake a teep, or actually just to close distance, or to like distract before a jab. I'm trying to hit her legs a little bit too, which Dang had told me to do in the last fight, but I'm not nearly close enough to be doing it. I'm using the teep to close distance, but I'm not actually getting to the distance that I want to be at this point. She's basically just trying to stay away from me. See how she's using that teep? She's using actually her back teep to like kind of thwart my efforts to close in. Here she puts herself in the corner, but as she spins out, she uses her jab and has a beautiful right cross right there, like a flurry, and then kicks on top of it. So there's been very little action as I'm trying to close in, and she's trying to keep me off, and then that flurry is actually the most like dynamic moment yet. My guard is pretty good. I want to try to look less tight as I'm doing it. Like, I need to guard because I want to protect my face, but I want to look more relaxed. I've been doing this thing where I'm like batting the other person's arm down and punching over it with some good success. She's cross-facing me really nice there. I have a lock, but because she's got her arm over my face, that's a good moment for her. So as Nung was taking my mouthpiece out, he like scratched the top of my mouth, which became this like ongoing issue throughout the fight. I think that the inside of my mouth was bleeding a little bit, and I kept spitting blood in the corner. I actually have a really nice mouthpiece. We had it fitted by a dentist, which is really good. You can breathe with them, and they're less cumbersome. I looked like a total gopher every time I had my old mouthpiece in, which is one of the reasons we got this new one. But it's harder to take out, which is so my corner in trying to take my mouthpiece out scratched the top of my mouth a little bit. I don't remember what Dang was telling me. I think he was telling me to keep my hands up, but he wanted me to step forward on my kicks, which is something that he's been telling me for like 7 years. He wants me to punch, like he wants me to come in and punch the body, and then I think low kick as like a finisher. He usually doesn't have a lot to say between the first and second round just because it's not scoring yet. So he's actually giving me fight points on like how to work technique in. I think he's trying to like push towards growth in me as a fighter, which is amazing because he doesn't train me, he just corners for me, but he's still like, you're capable of this, why don't you grow in these situations, which is beautiful. Kevin always says when we start the round how I come forward, or if I don't come forward, lets him know how the round's going to go. I like how I came forward against her right there. I'm using my forward kick now to try to close distance. If you watch me trying to close distance here, you use your front side a lot. If you're the Dern fighter, if you're the one coming forward, you have to use your front side a lot. She has a nice teep keeping me back there. She's using her backside and kind of switching a little bit. So because I knocked her off of her post, I'm able to close distance a little bit better, but she is still just launching me backwards with that teep. That's one of the ways in which a size difference has huge effect, is that when I teep her, it's just to like kind of off balance her. When she teeps me, I go like flying backwards. It's a balance issue. I can make that less of a dramatic thing. That was nice. I just did a step to the left to like change direction, and it forced her out of where she was against the rope. It's basically cutting off the ring, but it's also forcing someone into a direction that if you want to throw your kick as they're trying to get off, you can do. She has a nice like repeated jab as she's trying to change direction. Here we go with the spin. This is where Sylvie does well, is when I lock on like this, like a pit bull, and then I can like spin and start landing knees in the clinch. I have the lock and she doesn't. She's putting her hips in really hard, which she had done in our last fight, which was really hard for me to get distance to get my knees going. So that pop over where I sent her flying is a solution to when someone puts their hips way in. I'm tagging her while she's in the corner. This is what Yodkun Pan calls the killing zone. Like, you want to get someone right in the corner there. Her like step knee right there, even though it doesn't hurt, it's a beautiful point. Like, that's a huge point for her in this fight. So I have to close in again and start landing mine. That was good. That was the pop over the arm. Now she's trying to put her hips back because I threw her while she put her hips in the last one. So now she's trying to like squat down. It's basically a like, if you clinch early and you clinch often, you're forcing your opponent to solve all the different ways in which you're locking them. So if you force them to keep solving it, not only do you keep them from really scoring against you, but if they solve it, you can solve their solve and like keep moving. If you wait really late into the fight to start clinching, as a clinch fighter, they're solving it late, and so you don't have as much time to solve their solve. So Kevin is always telling me to clinch earlier in fights, which I used to do, and then I was trying to experiment with different things, but because I know this opponent and because I had struggled with her the last time, I was like, I'm gonna fucking tire her out and clinch earlier in this fight. It looks like Dang is telling me to lock and rip her head down more. So you can make space with your body for the knee, or you can rip their head down and their body will go back, which makes space for the knee. So again, solving solves and like making adjustments to adjustments and that kind of thing. There's all kinds of different things. Every single move, every single position has a way out and a way back in and things like that. Looks like she forgot her mouthpiece. Slight extra time. These decals in the center of the ring are very slippery. So if you're late in the night, you always have to be wiping your feet on the ground. So I think she tired herself out a little bit with her awesome teeps in round 2. she's not keeping me off the same way that she was. She's trying to do these double kicks, and I'm trying to close that distance. My guard is staying up nice because I know she's a puncher, and I have a little bit of a combination going as I'm closing in on her, but I have this tendency to back out. Right there! Like, what is that? See how she did the punches and then the kick and stayed exactly where she was? That's what I need to do. I need to steal that. But this is pretty good in terms of how I'm closing here and she's punching me and I'm like unperturbed by it. I'm staying at that distance and keep closing. That's something I've had to work very hard on, and now I'm kind of cutting off the ring a little bit, but not going left as hard. Here I have a nice lock, and I'm tripping her a little bit. These knees to the side tire people out, and then you can create a little bit of distance. I'm trying to get my head out, and I can't. See how I'm trying to push on her arm underneath there? But I turned her as she was trying to knee me. So you time your opponent's knees, and you can turn them and just snuff their distance. And so her knee didn't land there. Oh, she's trying to use those punches to keep me off, and I am coming. This is really good. She's pushing my head down, so I'm in a like broken position, so my body position's not great, but I'm able to like rearrange myself, and there I kind of stepped past her and knocked her down. If your opponent has to keep getting up, it makes them tired. So this is my walk down. Oh, and a right cross. My right cross has finally been coming online because of my work with Nung Napapon. Here I put her down with some knees, wrenching her head down the way that Dang was telling me to do. I have to go find a neutral corner, so I kind of did like almost a full lap around the ring instead of just coming to this corner that Kevin's in. But I came after her and the bell sounded, so there's a little bit of a save by the bell situation. I met Nung, little Nung, in my corner when he was like 14 years old. He was smaller than me, so it's really funny to me to see him in my corner when he like picks me up and I kick my legs, because he's so massive now. Like, I think he's only like 22, 23, something like that, but he's like, oh, he's so big now. So this is one of these things where now that you're in the scoring rounds, you have to like build as you're going, and I definitely was starting to tire her out. My knees were landing. I was doing really well in the clinch. But because I'm always chasing her and trying to catch her, now it has to become a like, when you catch, you do more damage as part of like the building, or you have to make it so that they can't stay away as well. I pointed out to Dang that they have this little light box in the corner that says what round it is, and it said it was round 5, and I told Dang, I'm like, it's round 4, and so he turned around to the ref and let him know that it was on the wrong thing. So I don't know whether it was like, if nobody had noticed, if we would have only had a 4-round fight, or whether it was just a mistake. But it's one of those things that being able to be aware of that in the corner shows that I'm much more relaxed than I was when I used to like freak out and not hear a single thing that my corner used to say to me in the corner. So here I'm coming forward well with my left side, but because I'm not stepping left, I'm kind of foreshortening all of my strikes. If I'm doing exactly what I'm doing using my front side but stepping left, it's a little bit better. Here I'm using my teep a lot, but I ended up turning sideways and she got these 2 kicks in while I was slightly turned. It looks bad for me. Oh, but there you go. Come in, clinch immediately. She's trying to go really wide because I've been throwing her, but P-Guy, Chicken Man, who's in the Muay Thai Library, when someone goes really low, he taught me how to turn people, so I'm trying to do that. Oh, she's coming with those punches, though. See how she throws her whole body into her punches, and then she has that kick on the end of it? Those score really well. And they look really dramatic, but she kind of has nothing on top of it. She has her, like, three move set, and then she has to stop and wait for me. That's one of the things I've been working on, and something that Karahat really helps me with. If you watch the sessions with Karahat, this coming forward and like continuing on, it's a big thing with Karahat in the library. There she tried to throw an elbow, I think. So I'm on the outside and I'm trying to turn her. I don't know why the ref is breaking it right there other than protecting her. But at this point, I'm winning so much that him breaking it to protect her is not like a super horrible thing. There you go. There you go. That's just a couple of knees that are very well placed when you're overwhelming someone. And the referee's like, she's not defending herself anymore, so that's good. I was happy to knock her out because of how our last fight went, how I was so upset that it was so much harder. There's Dang going and taking care of her. He knows all of the fighters that I fight in Chiang Mai. There's no like animosity with people. There's no like we hate your camp kind of thing. It's very community driven in Thailand, and especially in Chiang Mai. Like, you know all of the fighters, you see them all the time. There's a woman who, when I first came into the stadium, my energy was not that great, but she turned around and she was like, Sylvie! And I was like, I like her energy, let's use her energy. So I went and I fought, and then when I came out of the ring, I pointed to her. You saw me point to her, and I'm like, come take a photo with me, because she didn't get the photo she wanted before I went in. It was very sweet. This is one of the things about fighting, is that when people come to see you fight, or they're excited about the fight, afterwards they all come to take photos, and it just kind of like preserves this high energy of having come out of the ring and having the energy stay up. It can totally be that you come out of the ring and just go sit in the corner and take your wraps off. Like, it's not a very complicated process. You just get in, you fight, and you come out kind of thing. There's no like, I don't know, there's no analysis from your corner. Sometimes you'll get yelled at for things you didn't do. Sometimes they'll tell you that you did well or not, but there's not a whole lot of analysis from your corner when you're fighting in Thailand. I think people want to be told what they did well or not well, and you don't necessarily get that in Thailand. This is nice though. Like, you can see the energy of the crowd coming. It's a very small crowd. This woman was taking photos and filming earlier in the night as well. Simon filming. There were a couple of Americans actually who came over and said hi. This guy wanted me to be punching his face in the photo. It's pretty funny. Much obliged. Can do. This woman's really cute who's waiting for her photo. She like ran over and was very patiently waiting for her turn. I never know which camera to look at. I sometimes have to ask people like, which one is yours? Because people will take photos of me that aren't of their group. It's so complicated, guys. I have to figure it out all the time. Look at how fast it clears out too. It's like, I love how business as usual and fast-paced fighting in Thailand is. You just, the next fight goes. So this is me saying goodbye to the live stream. I'm wearing my mouthpiece. I can talk with my mouthpiece in, which is good. Cannot take it out myself at all. So these are people who Dang had brought actually to watch me, so he brought them over to take a photo afterwards. He's at Lana Muay Thai, which is the same gym I was at in Chiang Mai when I started, but it's owned by someone else now, and he's kind of stayed over. So he's still Lana Muay Thai, even though it's not the same Lana that I remember. But if you go to Chiang Mai and train there, 100% take a private with him. Dang is great. He's also in the Muay Thai Library. We have a session with him. He's a very fight-oriented trainer, and he knows lots of stuff. He's very patient, and he's very good at explaining things. He was my trainer for probably the last year that I was at Lana Muay Thai in Chiang Mai. It was really good. His family actually drove me and Kevin down to Pattaya when we moved. I have no idea what I'm talking to him about. This is the thing, like, we talk about the fight or we talk about not the fight after the fight. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. Dang has two sons. His older son is a similar age to Little Nung, and he grew up at the gym as a fighter. And then he has like a little baby, like 6 years old. Hey, we're in Chiang Mai. I just had fight 253 against Namtit Sor Anucha, who I have fought before, and they had the weight at 55. Yeah, they were more honest about her weight this time, but they still announced me at 55. Oh. Also, Simon's in the car. You can maybe see Simon. But you have to go left. I go left.
How'd you like the fight, baby?
So I fought non-tip not that long ago, and I was super pissy after that fight. I was a total brat and upset. I think Kara was in the back of the car when I was doing my post-fight update about that. But I was upset because the first time I fought her, I knocked her out, and so I kind of had this mistake, a mental mistake of thinking it was not going to be a hard fight. There is a total asshole thing where you think a fight's going to be easy, and that's its own thing, but it's not even thinking a fight's going to be easy, it's being upset that it's hard. Like, that it's harder than you thought it was going to be. Even opponents that you 10 out of 10 times should beat, those are not easy fights. Like, there are things that make them very difficult. I don't win against this girl 10 out of 10, I don't think. Huh?
You've only fought 3 times, I think.
I know, I'm giving fake statistics.
Oh, okay.
But she has good boxing.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And my right hand is kind of jacked at the moment, so I was kind of in my head while going into the fight. I was like, okay, if you use your right hand and mess it up, that's okay. It just means you won't use it against Nang Hong on Friday. That's fine. Like, don't be afraid of hurting your hand, because if you're afraid of hurting your hand, you'll hurt it for sure. But if it's like, be willing to hurt your hand, then it's fine. And I didn't hurt it, which is good. I just kind of used it like a hammer. And, you know, it's not like a fine skill tool in that way. But I did throw some hands, which was really nice. I think I landed some hands. And I'm stoked that I landed some kicks, because what I've been working on with Pinu is staying really close and throwing kicks with my guard out. I don't think I did that, but it felt like I did that. So even though it probably didn't happen, it felt like it happened, which is step one.
Step one.
So it's a win by 4th round TKO.
4th round TKO.
Like ref stoppage type thing.
Yep.
And there was this, in our last fight together, they made the rounds a little bit short. A couple of the rounds were a little bit short. And in this one, Kevin thinks by pure accident, I think not by pure accident.
I watched the ref.
Skipped an
The
entire
ref was
round.
Right next to me.
I was looking, this is the thing about having fought so many times, is I actually have a wherewithal when I'm in the corner instead of just being like deer in headlights. And I'm like looking at the rounds and I'm like, you know, in my Kartchuk fight, I lost track of the rounds and I thought that round 5 was round 4. But I'm pretty sure this is not round 5. We're going into round 4. And so I said something to Dang my corner, and he turned and said something to the ref, and it was changed to 4, which is what it actually was. So it would have been fake round 5 knockout if it had not been round 4 knockout.
They were trying to undermine you, Sylvie.
Everyone's against me. They hate Farong here. It's so unfair. No.
They actually love you.
They do love me. Fight 253. Thank you everyone who came to watch me. Thank you everyone who was so enthusiastic in the audience. That was fucking awesome. For people who came and took photos with me afterwards, a patron came and said hi. That's really cool. He did not tell me his name, unfortunately. So if you watch this, say hi so I know what your name is. He came with his girlfriend or wife. And apparently there's a photo of me in their attic that she's semi-upset about and semi-not upset about. But she's a boxer, which is really cool.
Cool.
So yeah, fight 253, win, TKO. Kevin's here, Simon's here, and fighting on Friday. So thank you guys, and thanks to my sponsors, Onyx MMA, all my patrons. Diesel Noise probably watching it right now, screaming. So see you when I get home.